Good Erev Shabbos, good Erev Sukkos. Just want to share a thought on Sukkos here, and that is the first reference of Sukkos in the Torah, surprisingly, is in Bereshis, Sefer Bereshis, with Yaakov. It says, as Yaakov was making his way back to the land of Israel after a period away of just over 2 decades, 20 years, it says that Yaakov returned to a place after his encounter with Esav. It says, V'Yaakov nasa Sukkosa. Yaakov traveled to a place called Sukkos. Vayiben lo boyis, and he built for himself a home. Ulumikneu asa Sukkos, and for his flock, for his livestock, he made these huts. Al Kain, therefore, Kara Shem Hamakom Sukkos. Therefore, he called the place Sukkos. So it seems a little strange. Yaakov arrives in this destination. He builds himself a home for the people to live in. And for his cattle, for the livestock, he builds these huts. And he names the town after the huts. That's, that's the first strange observation I would make. The second strange observation I would make is that the Torah, one of the Rishonim, the basis for the Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law, says that the three regalim, the three main Jewish holidays, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, have 3 references in the Torah. And they also are connected to the 3 patriarchs. And Sukkot is connected to Yaakov. Where we find any connection between Yaakov and Sukkot? This verse itself. So it seems to be a little bit of a stretch that the holiday of Sukkot is connected to Yaakov because he made huts for his animals, which seems to be very big of a stretch. What does one thing have to do with the other? The huts that he made for his animals with the Yom Tov of Sukkot. So I just wanted to share one idea over here. And the idea and the purpose of Sukkot and how this ties in with the first reference of Sukkot in the Torah. The purpose of sitting in a sukkah is actually explicitly, we don't always find the reason, let alone the explicit reason in the Torah for the mitzvah. But in the case of Sukkot, not only the reason, but the explicit reason is mentioned in Parshas Emor, which we're going to read first couple days of the Yom Tov, Parshas Emor. And it says as follows. Let's get to the page. L'man yedu dorosechem, so future generations shall know, ki basukkos hoshafti es b'nei Yisrael, that in huts, booths, I had the Jewish people dwell. I took them out of Egypt. I am Hashem, their God. So basically what the Torah is saying, the reason why we sit in the sukkah today is to commemorate the journey that the Jewish people undertook as they left Egypt when they traveled in the desert. They sat in the huts, so we sit in the huts. It's a question in the Gemara if that means literal huts on the Smamish, or that means the Anani HaKavod, the clouds of glory, but be it as it may, the mitzvah of sitting in the sukkah is to remind ourselves of that journey. But we have to ask ourselves, what is there anything more than just a connection of remembering the journey of going out of Egypt? Is it just something beyond the commemoration, or there's something deeper of it as an act of faith? So, when we go out to the sukkah, basically, no matter where we're going out, when I say where we're going out, No matter where we are in the world, we're going out. We're leaving the comfort of our home. If we're living in a warmer place or in a colder place, we're leaving the air conditioning, we're leaving the heat, we're leaving a comfortable place, and we're going outside into the elements. And we're putting ourselves in a vulnerable area. Why would we do such a thing? Why would we put ourselves in our vulnerable area? And the idea of, and that's precisely the idea of Sukkot. The idea of Sukkot is that we are going to shatter the illusion that we have the rest of the year. The rest of the year, we are living under an illusion many times. And that is that we have this false sense of security. We live in this comfortable home, and there's all sorts of protection that we think we have, but in reality, we don't. And this year, more than any year, perhaps, we can relate to that with the year of COVID-19, when the illusion of modern sense of society has evaporated in an instant. But that's a separate conversation. I'm just bringing that up to point out how the illusion of modern day life can be evaporated in an instant. But Sukkot is a time that we confront this vulnerability head on, and we say, we're going outside to prove this point that we're vulnerable and we have nobody to rely on. It's just us and this flimsy little sukkah with no one to protect us. And that's the way the Jewish people traveled as they left Egypt. So all future generations shall know. It's not just us. They traveled with a hut, so we'll sit in the hut too. It's not just an act of commemoration. It's a basic article of faith. Our faith is not just to believe in God, but also to realize that we're vulnerable, and we believe in something called hashgacha pratis, and then we have this intimate connection on a daily basis. That's the point of going out in the sukkah. We confront our vulnerabilities. That God took us out and put us in this vulnerable situation, so we're going to go ahead and confront our vulnerabilities once a year head on. And that's what we see the first reference of Sukkot in the Torah with Yaakov. Yaakov comes to this place and he builds for himself a home. But that's not his essence. That he doesn't identify, his identity with home. He builds a temporary place, booths for his animals. And he says, my identity, I'm not going to be defined by the beautiful home that I have, because I know, it's here today and it's gone tomorrow. We're much more vulnerable than that. It's only this flimsy external thing that's separating between us and the elements, if not for the protection of God. Therefore, he called the place called Sukkot. So Sukkot is there to remind us that Ein lanu mi l'hishayin ela Avinu shebashamayim. We have nobody to rely on but our Father in heaven. This is not something that should bring us down, but rather lift us up. Realize that we go out, it's only us and the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So when we come back into our home after Sukkot, now we have the comfort of our home, but we realize it's because the Ribono Shel Olam has given us the ability to have this comfortable home. And now we're able to have that shelter of our home, but it's because God has provided that for us. I wish you all a meaningful and very joyous Chag HaSukkos.